So when you have a website online, there's a lot of things that you need to consider when protecting your site against hackers. And one of those things is brute force attacks. And a brute force attack is a pretty simple method of trying to gain access to a site. It's usually a small program that will throw hundreds or thousands of username and password combinations at your site in just a matter of seconds. So this is extremely successful for accounts that have bad passwords or very unsecure passwords. If you have a site with your password as 1234556, it'll be hacked in less than a minute using something like a hardcore brute force attack. And there's a few things you can do to really prevent this from happening, and these methods are really simple. So here I'm at WordPress.org, and they actually have a page that's dedicated to protecting your system from brute force attacks. And if you scroll down, some of the main things are you don't want to use admin as your username, which we've gone over multiple times. That's the default username that's placed in the input box when you're installing WordPress, and a lot of people just click OK and they just accept that. Most of my clients have done this, and I always advise them to change it. You want to use something different, because if someone's brute force attacking on a WordPress site, they're almost guaranteed to be using admin as the username and then throwing hundreds and thousands of passwords at it. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do. Next, you want to have secure passwords, and we went over that in depth in section 2 of this part. You want to use the standard rules, which are at least 8 characters. You want to use at least one uppercase and one lowercase, and you want to use at least one symbol. Those 4 things will really secure you against this kind of thing. And you also want to use passwords that don't have dictionary words. So use initials or abbreviations rather than something like cat, dog. Those are the exact kind of passwords that these programs are looking to hack. And then down here we have some plugins. A few of them we've already went over, such as the limit login attempts. Any plugin that limits login attempts is extremely effective against brute force. And one that I want to take a look at is Brute Protect, which I have open over here, which we'll go over in a second. You also want to protect your server. You can actually add password. You can actually add a login to access any file or any folder on your server, and we're going to be going over that in the Protect Server File section. And you can do that through cPanel, or you can do it manually through a file called htpassword. We'll go over that, like I said, either next section or the one after that. You can also limit access to your admin area by IP, and we already basically did that in the htaccess file. There's just a lot of things you can do in that file to protect you. Deny access to no referrer requests. Let's see, block lists. So that's pretty much it. Those are the main things you can do to prevent your site from being hacked in that way. So let's check out this plugin. I actually haven't used it. I've heard about it, but I haven't used it, and not many ratings, but you can see the ratings it does have are all 5 stars. That's definitely something you want to look at when you're downloading any kind of plugin. It has 19,000 downloads, and it has a recent update. So let's go ahead and download that. And we just want to install it by uploading it to the plugins directory. Alright, so let's go back to our WordPress installation and plugins, and I'm actually going to disable the Better WP security. I'm going to deactivate it because this has similar properties, and you usually only want one of these types of all-in-one security components. So let's activate this. Alright, so let's see. You need to obtain an API key, and we can do that for free. So let's do that. Okay, so get an API key. Okay, so it should be arriving in my email, so let's check that out. Okay, looks like this is the API key. Let's grab that. Alright, so now it looks like we're protected. You can see it opens this little area down here. General settings. Blue Protect statistics display to all users who can see the dashboard. Okay. Alright, so there's not much going on here, I guess. What we do have is an IP whitelist where we can, this is where we would put our IP address that we want to be able to access the admin area. So it shows us my IP address here, and I'm actually going to put that in there and save. So right now this is activated, so only I can access the back end. So obviously we're protected from brute force attacks because the hacker can't even access our admin area. So it's something that can be prevented really easily, and I'd suggest you use something like this on your WordPress website or any website.